And I think we're live. Hey guys, welcome to the team call. What's up? Happy Thursday. I always want to say Tuesday on the team calls because that's when our team calls used to be. And this year we're doing them on Thursday. So I always want to say Tuesday. So not happy Tuesday, happy Thursday. I hope you guys had an awesome and productive week. And I hope that you are going into the weekend with urgency and focus on your February goals. For those of you that are on the call, welcome. Thanks for being here. And for those of you that are brand new to the team, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And I'm so pumped that you decided to jump on the team call. My name's Sarah Tri, and I am the founder of Team Triceps. I started this business about 5 years ago. So this is my 6th year doing this gig, and it's awesome and I love it, and it's always a ton of fun, and I get to meet really cool people like Angie, who's on the call today, and she's going to share her story and give us some tips. And I always just love bringing new people on calls because I think it's really important to get different perspective, because my way isn't always the right way, even though I really think it is. It's not always the right way. And my story may not always relate with you. And maybe someone else's story will relate with you. And maybe you'll really get what Angie's saying. And maybe something will click because she says it a different way. So I think it's really important that you listen to other leaders in this business and follow what other successful people are doing, because success leaves clues. So if you're on the call, can you just say, hey, what's up in the chat box? Because we want to see a little bit more engagement over there, and we want to see you saying hi. And I want to know where you're from, and I want to know what team within Team Triceps that you're on, because we got a lot of teams within Team Triceps. I want to know what team you're on. So while you're saying hi, I just want to tell you guys a little story. So I met Angie through Josh's client thread. So she was a client of Josh's, and I am too. And I kind of invited everybody to the workshop a couple weeks ago. And so she jumped on, and it was so funny because she ended up winning a Core de Force shirt. It was so funny. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like one of Josh's clients won. And that just goes to show that I really do pick randomly. I promise. I really do pick randomly. So she had nothing to do with Team Triceps, and she still won, and she rocked that shirt and looked great in it. So, okay, let's see who's on. Jessica from Team Knockout Nation. Ooh, I like that. Evie from Team Free Your Fire. Dee and Amy. Let's see, Knockout Nation, Kayla, Stacy Miller from Team Homeless. Come on, girlfriend, you're on Team Triceps. Whatever, you're part of this team. Deanna from Team Knockout Nation. Man, who is Team Knockout Nation? And you guys are representing. Kirsten, what's up, girl, from Iron Edge. Andrea from Team Triceps. Let's see, who else is on? Sarah Pollard's on. What's up, girlfriend? Marie is from Team Knockout Nation. Katie from Minnesota. Hey, Katie. You're part of Team Triceps, girlfriend. Let's see. My mom, Donna's on the call. What's up? Andrea from Team Fearless Fit Nation from Northern Virginia. Susie from Miami and Team Triceps. What's up, Susie? Carlene in Southern California from Team Takeover. Love it. I think that's it. I think I grabbed everybody. So you guys, thanks so much for being on. I think you're going to really relate with Angie's story because she posted the other day, and I shared her post in our builders page. And I just love when you can hear a story about someone who has struggled, but has gotten through the struggle, and has not just gotten through the struggle, but has like climbed over the struggle and has seen better days than they've ever seen before. That's just so inspiring. And I wanted her to come on this call because no matter what you're going through right now, you can overcome that and take your life to the next level. And then you inspire so many people when you do that. And then when you share that story and you relive that and you feel that emotion and you tell people how you overcame that, that's how you build a business. That's how you relate with people. So I just really wanted to get her on the call. So Angie has been a coach since 2013. Did I get that right? 2013.
Yeah.
Mom of 2. She has a hubby. She's got a dog. Just like all of us, right? I don't have any kids, but, pretty close. I got 2 dogs. And she is a certified nurse, or I guess, what would you call that? An RN or
registered nurse.
a registered nurse. Okay, there you go. Totally not in that lingo. Okay, so she's an RN, and she's built her business since 2013 to 6 figures. She is a Success Club legend, meaning she's hit Success Club consistently for over 24 months. So who knows what her record is? I'm sure it's crazy. And she's a 2-star diamond coach. So she has success. She has an awesome story. So I can't wait for you guys to hear her. And here she is. Angie, take it away, girlfriend.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. Okay, so I hear a lot of echo. Do I need to do something? Oh, okay, you're muted now. So then it goes away. All right, cool. All right, yeah, I'm a little tech challenged with this stuff. So I was like, oh, what did I do? All right, so thank you guys so much for having me on. I am like super excited to be here and to share my story with you. And I'm going to try not to cry, but sometimes that sort of thing just happens. And I also cannot promise that I will not be interrupted by a dog, a child, or possibly even a Nerf gun war, because there's one going on downstairs right now. So I'm going to try to just get into it. So like Sarah said, I became a coach in May of 2013, but I want to give you a little backstory behind that. So I graduated college as a nurse, started working, and I had no intentions of getting married anytime soon. I was just very independent and focused on just getting my career going and my life going. As a young person who was making a really good salary, because I was like working a ton, doing night shifts and stuff, so I could make as much money as I could, because I'm a huge saver. So I was like, I'm just gonna work as hard as I can, as long as I can, and just save. And it was about, I don't know, that was 2002 that I graduated, and then in March of 2004, I went on my first date with my husband. He was a resident at the hospital doing his emergency medicine residency, and the nurses set us up, and I was like, I'm not dating a doctor. It's not happening. No. And they're like, just go on a date with him. And I was like, okay, fine. So I did. And 6 months later, we were engaged. And a year after that, we were married. And a year after that, I was pregnant. And then I think 15 months after I had my daughter, or 15 months after that, I was pregnant again. So I had 2 kids in under 2 years and married. It was like nuts. Like, what happened to my life in such a short amount of time? And I was blessed to have the option to stay home, but I did want to work. So I still was working 1 day a week in a surgery center, which was completely insane for our schedule and really put a stress on us. But I needed to get out. And my son he's my second, and he was, to say challenging it just doesn't describe it. He never slept. He screamed all the time. He would not leave me. And I just remember literally the first 12 weeks of his life, I wouldn't even go upstairs to go to bed because he just wouldn't stop screaming. So I would just stay downstairs and just walk with him all night long. And I would walk and I would eat. So I would stay awake and I would just walk him back and forth, and he would just scream. And so I had my toddler and my husband upstairs, and I was like, they need to sleep. So I had to do this. And that went on. I don't think I actually went back to sleeping in our room until he was like 9 months old or something. And even then it wasn't real sleep. He did not start sleeping through the night until he was over 3 years old. And so that kind of exhaustion is something that most people don't know. It's like, I always joke around. It's like, hey, military or whatever needs to do some torture, just give them an infant and let them listen to him scream and keep them awake forever. It'll be horrible. So I had nothing left to give anybody because I was so drained. I had a toddler. My husband at that time, he was just starting working, out of residency, and worked all the time. I mean, God bless him. As soon as you get to finish residency, the medical school bills kick in. So that's an extra stress on a young family. And he was just working as hard as he could and as much as he could, just trying to support us and give us a little bit of a foundation, something to get started with. And he picked up an extra job. And so he had his full-time job and a part-time job. And then he picked up another part-time job. And then he picked up another one. So my husband was not around. And when he was, I mean, his shifts were here, there, and everywhere else. Like it was, I just couldn't keep track of it. And everything just kind of imploded. Like our relationship tanked. I don't even remember a lot of my kids first because it's just all a blur. I just wasn't even conscious for it. And I think the hardest part was when the moment he looked me in the eye and asked me if I loved him anymore, and I told him I don't know. Because I really didn't, because I literally couldn't feel anything anymore. And that's was like the low point where it was just like, okay, well, what do we do now? We said we weren't ever going to get divorced, and I'm miserable and you're miserable and the kids aren't right. What do we do? So he convinced me to start running with him, which I did not run. I was like, no, I don't run to the end of the street, let alone run anywhere else. And he had run a few marathons and half marathons. He's like, let's just do it. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll do it if you take me to Disney. So he was like, fine. So we did that and we started training together. And that was kind of the first start of putting the pieces back together. It gave us something in common, but there was still a lot of other issues going on. And we went to therapy because we knew that was like something that needed to happen. So we did that and we ran our first race together. It was great. He got me hooked. I started doing more races. And then I was starting to feel like I was getting to the point where I was getting some sleep. I finally was losing some weight. But I was just like, something is just not right. I'm like, I'm just not right. I can't figure it out. Like, I just don't feel like myself. You know, I was still just had this sadness inside of me that I just couldn't lift off of me no matter what I did. And that's when I saw a friend of mine from college on Facebook posting and talking about doing some cleanse thing. And I don't know what she was really talking about. She just had her second baby, and I saw her, this transformation, like the physical transformation was crazy. I was like, whoa, that's like insane. How's that even possible or safe? But what really spoke to me was the look in her eyes. Like she went from looking how I felt at that moment, like dead, and to just, there was the light. Like the girl that I knew in college came back. Like she was there again. And I was like, I don't know what she's doing, but I need to do that. But I didn't have the guts to reach out to her. I couldn't do it. I just could not bring myself to say, hey, what are you doing and how can I do it? So I Facebook stalked, like usual people do. And I must have hit like or something at one point. And so she came after me and she was like, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. And so she talked me into buying the reset and I bought it. And at the time I was actually mid opening a med spa with my mom, which was crazy because I was like, oh yeah, that's what I need. I need my own business. That's going to make me feel better. So I was doing that. And so I bought the reset and it sat there and it sat there and it sat there. And I was like putting it off. So I was too busy with the business and all this stuff. And then the business blew up in my face because you don't go into business with your family members, as my husband tried to warn me. And that destroyed my relationship with my mom. And that I was just crushed. And I felt like my whole life was just completely spiraling out of control again. And I didn't know what to do. And that box was just staring at me. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And it was like the one thing I could control was doing that. And so I picked it up. I opened it up. I started it. And over that 3 weeks of the reset, I had feelings come back that I hadn't felt in like 4 years, 5 years probably. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I feel alive again. And it kind of just started from there. I was my coach Lauren was like, you should be a coach. Like, you see how these people are reaching out to you and talking about this, like you should just be a coach. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but you said I get a discount on Shakeology with it, so that's fine. I'll do that. So off I went. Next thing I know, there were people just asking me stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's put ourselves in a group and do stuff together. And that's what I did. And honestly, my business grew out of that. And I probably did that and kind of just fiddle farted around for 7-8 months. Because it took me that long to become Emerald. And that was really I didn't even really work for that. Like, it was just kind of a couple people who wanted to be discounts, and it finally happened at like 8 months. And then I went to my first event. It was the Platinum Presenters event, and I experienced the community for the first time of Beachbody, and it just lit me up inside. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Who knew there were so many awesome people in the world? Because I didn't. I was like buried under like snot and puke and all this stuff for like the last few years. I had no idea. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to like try to like, really make a business out of this. And he's like, yeah, sure. Okay, honey, whatever. I'm like, no, like, I can really earn money doing this. And like, you can work less and you can be home more. And he's like, okay, sure. When I see it, I'll believe it. And I was like, okay, well, you just watch me. And so I put my head down, and I found it a lot more difficult to get to Diamond than I thought it was going to be. But I got there in 17 months. It was no quick trip. And then 2-star came pretty quickly after that. But honestly, I held it for a couple months, and then it's fallen off and come back and fallen off ever since. And that's okay. I mean, I've built other diamonds, but of course they're never in the right place. But this experience, this community, this team, and just everything, it gave me back my life. It gave me back me. It gave me something that made me feel like I had a purpose in this world. I know being a mother is a wonderful thing. It's a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. And it's taken me a long time to be able to say this, but it was not enough for me. Do not shoot me with that Nerf gun. Seriously.
Not.
Nicholas, not now. Downstairs. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so I always felt like that inside, that just, it's like, oh, people are like, oh, you're married to a doctor. You're so lucky. You get to stay home. You don't have to work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, great. It's not for me. It was not my life. It's not who I am. And I felt really bad about that for a really long time. And then I finally got to the point where it's like, no, it's okay to not be enough, to not want to just be home, and to have something that's mine and that I can do for me, because it makes me feel good and it gives me a purpose as an individual. And I get to be Angela, me. I get to be not mom, not Nick's mom, not Brian's wife, not Olivia's mom. Because, when you're a mom and you go anywhere in like mom land, people refer to you as your child's mom. You don't have a name anymore. So this is just giving me purpose. And I will tell you, my coach journey has not been the easiest road, and it's not for everybody. Like, it's going to have ups and downs, but I'm going to try to get to my points here. And because I got to pull out my sticky note because I ramble. So I'm going to just bring it back in here a minute. All right. So these are the things I'm going to tell you. I think are the most important things to keep in mind when you're trying to get yourself going on this journey, or you're in the journey and you're stuck and you're feeling like, I don't know about this. So I'm going to tell you. All right. First of all, you need to ask for help. And this doesn't just go for the business. Ask your family, ask your significant other, ask your kids, ask your friends. You need to ask for support. Let them know what you're doing and what your goals are, and tell them what you need, because when you keep them in the loop, they are way more likely to support you. I did that for too long, where I was just like, I'm not gonna talk to anybody, because I was too worried about how they would react and that they would have something negative to say, and that would kind of just like defeat me. And really, I was just doing a disservice to myself that way, because now that I talk about it and I tell everybody and I tell my husband, I'm going to go do a call for another team right now, so I need you to manage the Nerf fight downstairs. He's like, okay, I got it. And he's on board. When I used to just sneak away and disappear, he'd be like, where are you? What are you doing? What's going on? Why are you doing this? So that's one. Number two, there is power in numbers. Now, I say this because I think we all get on this entrepreneurial roller coaster and you think you're on your own. And you don't have to be on your own. You don't have to run every challenge group on your own or every free group on your own. And I'm telling you, it is so much better when you work with other people. I have a success pod. I have a success partner. I have a couple different groups, the people that I talk with, but my main success pod, we get together, we talk pretty much every single day, and we create content together. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this week where we're talking about this. You're going to take this week, and you're going to take this week. And it's so much easier to break down 30 days or 21 days of content between 2, 3, 4 people and pull it all together than it is it feels like this huge weight when you got to do it all by yourself. So don't feel like you are alone in this. And don't get stuck if you're with somebody and it isn't working out. Just say, peace. This isn't my jam, and I'm out of here and I'm moving on. It's okay. I've been through multiple partners and multiple success pods in my almost 4 years now. And it's okay. Don't get stuck in those ones, because it's just going to hold you back and slow you down. My next thing is, there is no right way to do this. And I think Sarah was kind of talking about that in the beginning. You got to figure out what about this works for you and what excites you in it, like, and how you do it. There's no right way. You cannot just look at what Sarah does, and even though I personally think it's awesome and I want to do everything she does, and do exactly like her. Like, you still got to put your own spin on it, and you got to find how that meshes with what makes you happy. I was getting stuck in probably honestly, all of 2016 was a rough year for me. And it was it was rough, but I learned a lot. I learned that there's just certain things I can't do in this. It's just not for me. It doesn't feel right. And when I was trying to force them because it was what other people were telling me was really working for them, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. If it's not for you, it's not exciting you, and it's not something that you wake up excited to do, you're not doing it right, because it's not the right way for you. So find what makes you happy and do that. And if it's not, then you just got to move on. And my last thing is, you need to have what I like to call stick-to-itiveness. Okay. So, like, my husband told me he didn't think I was going to be successful at this, basically. And I was like, oh no, you watch me. When I commit to something, like, I'm not giving up. And I committed to making this work because I really enjoy it. And I know I had to write this down because I was thinking about this earlier. My level of commitment is why I'm okay with failure. I have had so much failure in this business, like, it's no joke. Last year, when I would have had my highest paycheck ever, I dropped down to Emerald. Everybody fell at the same time. And it would have been like my first over $3,000 paycheck. And I got a whopping like $500 because I had my $250 cycle bonus and the commissions I made. And that was it. And that was a failure. And that felt bad. And that hung on me. And honestly, it hung on me through like the whole year, because that happened in February. And I had to go through that and see that it's like, you know what? It was a failure, but it's okay, because I had to bring it back to why I do what I do. I love this. I love these people. I love working with my challengers. I love working with my coaches and seeing I've got coaches on my team that are providing private school for their kids that they would not have been able to do without this. And that's what's going to keep me going, because I know there's more people out there like that I need to get on board and do this too. So that's my story. And just to be clear, I did get my husband down to working just one full-time job now.
That's awesome. Oh my God. That call. Here, will you mute yourself? Here, maybe I can mute you. There we go. I can mute you. You're muted. Gotcha. You guys, I mean, that's just so inspiring to like hear all that you've went through, and then to hear your failures. And I can relate. I mean, I failed so much, but I never really attributed to, what did you say? My commitment level makes failure okay, or whatever your quote was, something like that. Like, and it's true. If you just go back to why you're doing this and like why you're so dedicated and what the reason is, like you can embrace failure so much more. So, okay. And I love the success pod idea, and I've created success pods through all of this. And I think that they make it so much easier to manage as you grow your business. I do have one question. How are you able to, like your story the other day that you shared, I think was really personal and really inspiring and really touching. And you got so much great feedback and engagement from sharing your true self and your true struggles and how you overcame that. But how do you find the courage to share that? Because I think so many people want to share their story and they want to share those struggles, but they can't find the words, or they can't find the courage to say it and to put it out there. Like they're, so how do you find the courage to share your story? Let me unmute you. Can I?
Can I do it? I think I did it. Or I don't know if you did at the same time. Okay, so honestly, when I'm trying to dig in deep for those posts, they're not easy. They're not easy. And I don't think they ever get easier. I mean, honestly, that day I was nauseous pressing send on that. I take myself back to where I was when my coach reached out to me. And I think about that, because if she did not reach out to me when she did, I don't know where I would be right now. Like, would I still be married? I don't know. Like, I'm really happy in my life right now, like really happy. And I don't think I would have that if she didn't reach out to me. And she wouldn't have reached out to me if she didn't keep putting those posts up that I was stalking and eventually click like on, and she came back to me. So I think about that I know there are people out there that are just like me and are going through that same thing, and they just need somebody to just help them out and give them that, like reach their hand out to them and say, hey, I'm here for you. And that's where I go when I have to do those posts, because it's not easy, but you got to think about the outcome.
And just think about like the impact that you can have when you share that. Like who can benefit from hearing your story, because you've overcome, and there's, I feel like everybody goes through struggle. Like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we can all relate to struggles. Like everybody can relate. I mean, did you get any negative feedback on that post? Of course not. Nobody is going to kick someone who's overcome a struggle, right?
Right.
And just like you said, like if your coach hadn't posted and kept posting, even if only 2 people were liking her post, or 3 people were liking her post, or only 1 person commented, or nobody ever commented, she kept posting and you eventually liked it. And I think that that's so key here. And I think that that's a huge vital behavior, part of inviting, that we have to remember, is that it's about your presence and it's about your attraction. And it is about getting results. She got incredible results from the reset. She sacrificed whatever she was doing in her life to make herself better and better herself, and in the end inspired so many people. And wouldn't it be really cool if you could inspire someone like Angie to join your team? Like, what if you could sign someone like Angie and she could build a business underneath you, and you could help mentor her and change her life? Like, wouldn't that be worth it? Wouldn't that be worth it for you? Of course.
There is like, I don't think there is a greater reward in this than when you have someone that comes on your team, and like my top coach on my team, it happens to be my best friend. And I had to beg her over and over and over again, over and over and over again to do this. And she came kicking and screaming, but she had had her son and she couldn't lose the weight, and her family was just she did not want to go back to work. And there was no other way. Like, right, they needed the income. And I was like, just give this a try. Just give it a try. And she's taken off and ran with it. And she has a great team under her, and she has people under her who it's the same thing. Like, and it's just getting repeated. And like, I'm seeing that success 3, 4, 5 levels down in your business. And one of them messaged me the other day and was like, I'm so glad you started doing this, because if you didn't, then Megan wouldn't. If Megan wouldn't, then I wouldn't. And it's like the ripple effect of what is possible is insane. It's insane.
Chills. I mean, and that's the thing. It's just like, you make one decision for yourself like that. You made that decision for you. Like, you wanted to get better. You wanted to feel better. You saw the look in her eyes and you saw that she was happier and you wanted that. And by you bettering yourself, you're bettering everybody else. It all starts with us, guys. It all starts with you. Like, you become the best version of you and people are attracted to you. You just have to be yourself. My mom and I were talking about this in the car today on our way to Green Bay. And it was just like, man, when you are just okay with being you, it's freedom. It's pure freedom. And it just, and things line up. And when you take care of yourself, you inspire so many others to do the same thing. And the ripple effect that you can have over, how long have you been coaching? 4 years now?
Yeah.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that ripple effect in that short of a time. Think about in 10 more years what that looks like.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be fast, guys. It doesn't have to be crazy fast. You can build this slow and steady and have a thriving business in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no speedy person here as far as building a business goes. I'm not. I think I'm pretty slow and steady. And, I finished this past year, I just got my tax form today, and I made over 6 figures and basically being a 1-star this entire past year. So it's really possible to do a lot and I don't have a huge team. Like, I don't have tons and tons and tons of coaches, PS coaches. It's just, I have some good people who are as passionate about this as I am. And
what does your hubby think about that 6-figure income?
He was like, wow. Like, he was actually, and to get a wow from him is a big deal. He's not impressed easily. Right. So, yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good. And I can't wait to go to our accountant and be like, bam, because 2 years ago, he called me a bored housewife. So to my face.
There you go. There you go. Bam. You love that. That's awesome. I mean, congratulations. That's an incredible story. And now you get a chance to help your family, like help support your family. Your husband can be home more. He doesn't have to work his butt off to support you guys. You do what you have an identity now. You're not just a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, I love it. Real quick, Stacy asked, what is the Success Pod? Can you just kind of explain how what you would call a success pod?
So we just partner up in groups of 3. You could probably do 4 if you need to. We just found 3 works pretty well. And we just plan our business out together. So we work on creating content together. We hold each other accountable for our daily trackers and things like that, and our goals every month. We set goals together. We do check-ins with each other to see where we are on them. And we really just run our individual businesses, but we build it all up together. So, like the 3 of us that are in my pod, we're working on something we're calling the holistic blueprint, because we created content based around confidence, mindset, mindfulness, and gratitude, because those are the things that we all were experiencing our challengers needed. Mm-hmm. So we kind of all just took a chunk of it and worked on it and pulled it all together. And we have this great content now that we're feeding into our challengers. And thinking about doing that on my own was like, oh my God, I can't. But when you have other people that you're working together, and it helps keep me on track, because it's like, okay, I know I have somebody else to be accountable to for getting my content done, because they're relying on it too.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome. Who wants to do a success pod? Does anybody want to do a success pod? Maybe we should get a thread going in the builders page and get some success pods set up. So
yeah,
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, okay, quick question. Do you include your success partner and or your own PS in your success pod?
I do not. Actually, well, I don't, but my partner is Emily, who's like, I guess, a cousin of mine, I would say, like in Beachbody world. She's like my cousin. But her PS coach is the other one in our pod. And so I've been the coach the longest, then Emily's been a coach for like 2.5 years. And then her coach has been a coach maybe like 7-8 months. So we're all in different places in the business, and we kind of all have different goals for now, but it is working out really well to have a variety of outlooks on the business together, because, you know, once you're like me and you're like been in it a long time, it's good to see somebody that's new, because it kind of brings me back and helps me focus on talking to those people better.
Totally.
So awesome. I don't think there's any real rules to it. I think you just have to have people that you jive with.
Totally. Yes. So it doesn't matter about your status or your rank or whatever. What matters is, do you guys connect? Are you guys clicking with each other? Like, can you trust and rely on this person to get their part done? Are you guys, you know, like, yeah, like I think that all matters. So that's
they just have to be as committed as you are. Totally. That has to be the same.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, you guys. So I think that's it. So Angie, thank you so much. That was awesome. I think everybody loved it. So thanks for spending your night with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
You. So we loved your story, and you totally held it together. You didn't cry. I don't know how, because I felt like there was tears welling up in my eyes at points. So you held it.
It was a well-timed Nerf gun.
Totally. Yes. You got to give him a little high five for that. Okay.
I know.
So, all right, girl. Well, have a great night. Thanks for being on, you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you in the team page, and have a great rest of your night. See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Yes. End it. Call has ended.